I am back, and you are comfortably zoned in Alameda, California, and in Concord, California, simultaneously for the second edition of Sherry and the Zig Zag Man. My wonderful friend, Sherry Davis, Chili's namesake.
Yeah.
How are you?
Fine. I once wrote Chili and told him if we got married, I wouldn't even have to go to the DMV to change my last name. But, you know, he never responded.
Oh, go figure. Had he that, you'd have been the wife of a minor league coach somewhere. Life after baseball. But Chili loved ball. He's still in it. He's not a minor league coach. He's a highly paid batting coach.
Yes.
I think he's, yeah, absolutely.
With the A's.
With the A's, where you said with us. I live in the East Bay. It's, but I still vacillate. Is it us? What's us? I tend to find myself rooting for the players, rooting for my childhood teams, and the Angels more than the A's, it seems. I really take a liking to for a lot of reasons. The years I spent doing the Topps thing in the minors, I had a lot of friends that were minor league coaches and managers with the Athletics. A lot with the A's, too. Dickie Scott was my friend. But one of my all-time friends who I would look forward to seeing each year was, I want to say about this guy, Sherry. His name was God, I blanked on his name. He was, that scares me. I'm having a senior citizen's moment.
Happens.
Back in the 90s, he was an Angel pitching coach. He was the Angel guru. He sent a whole bunch of people to the majors, but he was also the pitching coach. Howie Gershberg, ladies and gentlemen, comes back into the Jew boy's head. Howie and I were the only Jews in Salem, Oregon each summer. The only Jews in the whole. So, we weren't literally, but he was the minor league coach there, and I drove up there. Excuse me. And see how Howie, and he was, everybody loved Howie. He was an educator in the New York City school system and a pitching coach at St. John's. The famous game between Viola was pitching for St. John's, and Ron Darling was pitching for Yale, and they pitched against each other, and it was like a double no-hitter or something like that. And Howie was the pitching coach at St. John's, and he was a scout for the Angels, and just for a while he was a roving minor league pitching coach. Everybody that came up in the Angel system in between the 80s and the 90s knew, worshipped, and loved Howie Gershberg. Rest in peace. He died much too early, and I miss him, and that was my baseball story. You have a Chili Davis story to tell that you didn't tell the first time you were here. Give me your Chili. Your call.
He was just my first baseball, the first baseball player I followed. And I didn't know baseball until I moved to San Francisco and started going. And I'll tell you, one time I was on the J Church going to work, and I read in the paper, I thought once you're in the major leagues, that was it. And I read that Chili had been sent down to the minors. And, you know, you don't talk, especially, this was before people had cell phones and were sitting there talking like they were talking to themselves all the time. So I come out on the J Church and go, oh, no! Everybody, instead of turning and looking at me, you know, everybody turns and looks away. But I just love to go and yell, Chile! Chile, get a hit, babe! Come on, Chile! So that was my start in baseball, really.
It's fun being a baseball fan. And what better time to be a baseball fan in San Francisco than 3 out of the last 5 years? Got to give them credit. They were my boyhood hero. I'll never love them like I loved them when they were in New York. But and I'm a Met fan first. But there's really something. We're watching some good stuff for a long time.
Oh my goodness! It's been an amazing series. It's just been a roller coaster.
Yes, back and forth, and the whole season was like that. It was one of the strangest seasons for Bay Area teams. The A's went through it, and the Giants went through it simultaneously. Big streaks up, big streaks down. Dodgers went through it, ironically.
I mean, to lose by so many points and then to win by so many points and then to have a pitcher's duel, and I expect another pitcher's duel tonight with Bumgarner back up again. So.
Hey, after the first show, you talked a lot about being a public address announcer and what have you, and there's a lot of times I talked over you and interrupted you, and we went off to different subjects. Complete your thoughts. Anything that you wish you would have gotten at, or anything you want to elaborate on from that show? And it was only a couple weeks ago. But
I can't even remember what I talked about, but I don't know. It was just wonderful. I don't know if I talked about that. 500 people auditioned. There were only 9 women, and I'm just loving the young woman pitcher. That wonderful commercial of hers, Leslie Davis, Moad Davis.
Oh yes.
I'm not sure how you.
Yes.
And Spike Lee directed that commercial. It's just the greatest commercial. I just love that line. That's how a girl throws. It's just wonderful. I just am so happy for her, and I wish I were announcing 10 years from now and could announce her as a starting pitcher. I would love it, but I'm just so happy that she's getting the attention, the positive attention that she's getting.
Yeah, she's not. It isn't the first time a woman has gotten positive attention in baseball. I know in the 90s, Colorado had a team called the Silver Sox.
Right.
And they competed with a pretty high class level of baseball, not on a professional level at that point.
Yeah.
This woman.
And then there was Isla Borders, who pitched in the minors, but she pitched on her college men's team, but she had a rough time of it. She did not get the positive exposure that
right. And I don't know if you remember, there was a woman umpire that tried to.
Yep. Pam Postimo. Pam. Is it Postimo?
Pam Postada, I think. I might be.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very difficult because she had to be like a man to do that, whereas as an announcer, I didn't have to pretend to be a man, and as a player, you don't have to pretend to be a man. But I think as an umpire, I mean, she had to be rough and gruff, or she felt she had to be macho.
Well,
in some respects, because you're controlling the game. I don't know. She was in a difficult position.
For a woman to do that, no, I really believe a woman. There are, and they don't have to be big in stature. There are some controlling women who earn the respect by doing what they do, and it isn't even a matter of being controlling. It's having control. That's the point.
Well, there's a big difference, yeah.
Yeah, I really think that there are a number of women that their gender wouldn't be an issue with that. A lot of it was the times. I think she came up in the 70s and the 80s, and boy, sports is a jockery of craziness.
Yeah.
It's the first woman and the woman to go reported to go in the locker room. 2 or 3 of them really had a hard time, and the people that gave them the hardest times were their male chauvinist pig peers. Who just, it's like that thing of, whoa, a woman shouldn't do this, a woman shouldn't do that.
I know, and I got accused of taking a job away from a man, as if I had some man supporting me. I mean, I'm supporting myself. It's not, I should be allowed to make a living as well.
Oh, that's a horrible thing to say. Yeah. So someone 75% of what you pay the man, and then complain because you're taking a job away from a man. No, people don't go to work because it's called fun. They go to work because it's to earn money. I think unless your work is your passion.
Of course, this was fun.
Oh, okay. Well, that was
this was fun. I have to cop to that.
Yes,
it was a great amount of fun.
Oh, I could imagine. Your most fun day. I think I might have asked you that, but I don't think I gave you a chance to answer.
My most fun experience was going on a road trip with the Giants, and we got, there's on the plane. There's a hierarchy where you sit, the management, and the manager, Dusty, would sit up in the first class, and then there'd be the sports writers, and then I was kind of behind them, and then there's the coaches and all the players in the back. So I kind of kept to myself, and when you get to the airport, you don't even go in the airport. You just walk to the tarmac, go into buses, and I got on the second bus. It was in Chicago, and I got to the hotel, and you get an envelope with your key and the schedule and everything in there. And I went to get on the elevator, and the elevator was packed with Giants, packed. And I just put up my hand and said, oh, that's okay, I'll get the next one. They said, no, come on in. So I just kind of just squeezed myself in there, and the doors closed. I felt like, dear Lord, just take me now. It's never going to get any better than this. And the shyest guy, there was a little bit of a silence when I first got in, and the shyest guy on the team is the one that spoke to me. Kurt Manwaring. Said, so, Sherry, you going to go to Ditka's? He was the sweetest guy in the world. And he once got fined in kangaroo court for sitting on the bench for a whole week without saying a word, I think. So that was pretty special.
That's something that neither of us could do if we had a gun to our heads.
Yeah, he was just a sweetheart. But most of the guys were on that team. I mean, I was very blessed to have the guys who were there and who did support me, and just sweethearts.
How about from the standpoint of a competitive with the Giants in ball games that meant stuff, anything that, any moments of, obviously you're rooting for them along the way, although you can't really sound like you are.
Right, right.
And what was your biggest moment from the standpoint of being a fan? Working, but being a fan.
Well, it's when
and it
I
could
think
be
I think Bonds became. There were a couple. One was when Bonds hit some mark. It was a 30-30 mark or something. There were only 2 other players who had done it. One was Willie Mays, and one was Andre Dawson, whom I have loved forever because he played on bad knees. I mean, he just played for the love of it. nobody wanted him, and he went to the Cubs and gave him a signed blank contract. He just wanted to play, so I just admired him so much. So I got to introduce him, Willie Mays, and Bonds, but I got to say, they call him the Hawk, Andre Dawson. So that was, for me, that was the thrill. And the other was when Orlando Cepeda's number was retired. And at the very end of the ceremony, I got to say, Viva Cepeda! So, there were really fun moments. A lot of times, not necessarily during the game, but there were some really beautiful pregame ceremonies and different things like that.
Okay, let me ask you if you remember Chili's number. I mistakenly said it was 30, but I think that was...
No, you're correct. It was 30.
Oh, it was 30. Okay. So,
yeah.
Now I must think back.
I think he changed it when he went to other teams, maybe. He maybe could get that number. But he was 30 with the Giants.
Right. Well, you would think that a man of my limited stature would have other things to think about, but...
no, there's nothing wrong with obsessing about baseball.
No, I do it with style and with grace, and
yes.
As often as I possibly can. So, guest Doug Ferrari doesn't seem to be a show.
He's an old friend of mine from the comedy circuit. We knew each other way back when in the early '80s, when we were both kind of neophytes to the comedy. Another
of our ties. He's been on the show 2 or 3 times. He's so open about his own life and about the way he is.
He's had some hard times. He has.
He has very hard times. We've been friends for a while, and so I understand, Doug, if you're out there listening to this, we'll reschedule yet again. As the producer, Doug isn't easy, but as a guest and as a friend, it's well worth it. So.
I would love to speak with him again. I haven't seen him or talked to him in years. Many years.
Yeah, he's had an interesting life, and he's like you and I. We're doing it our way. We don't fit in.
That's right. He keeps on. I'm really proud of him for that.
Right.
Very proud.
Right, and with a passion, and he's life's not easy, and we had some posts going on Facebook earlier in the day about what you do when you're down. I mean, it was a cute little one of those cute little signs, but it really hit home, as most of them do, that you could stay down for a while, and you could take your own little standing 8 count once in a while, but you gotta keep fighting. You can't, whatever it is. And not giving up is what it's all about. Because
you have to go through it. It's a whole process, though. You've got to allow yourself to be down when you're down, though. You've got to really understand that and connect to it, I think, before you can come back up. But you've got to find a way to. You've got to find your way back up.
Right, and
part of life.
To know that one is not the Lone Ranger, I suggest that on some way or another, be it health, be it spiritual, be it job-related, be it kids, parents, everybody goes through stuff, privately sometimes, outwardly other times. No one has it like, going, every day is Christmas and tomorrow's a holiday. Doesn't work that way.
Nobody gets out without some strife,
Yeah. So there you go, Doug. You missed, but we'll do it again with you as our special guest on the Sherry and the Zig Zag Man, on the Sherry and the Zig Zag segment. Sounds pretty good. We love to talk ball. I love women who dispel the myth that baseball or football for them or whatever it is that's considered to be a man's passion.
Right.
It is can a woman? What does she know? Or what can she tell you about this, that, and the other thing? You're very well knowledged.
I come from a long line of. I'm in good company. There are many ball players who'll tell you that they used to sit and watch baseball with their grandmother or with their mother. You know, it's not always.
I did watch baseball. I watched Don Lawson's perfect game with my mother, and my mother, incidentally, Vivian Tyko, rest in peace. We certainly are trying to do the best we can, but we miss you if you're up there. That sounds so stupid, you know? But anyway, she went to the Lou Gehrig game in 1939 at Yankee Stadium.
Oh, my gosh.
She was at that game. And
my.
Kisco, she was 19 years old. My grandfather ran a sporting good kind of general store. And one of his clients was from the Yankees in the front office somewhere, got great seats. And my mother was, and she and I sat in the living room on 91st Street, Jackson Heights, and watched in 1956, me 9 years old, and remembering still, I wasn't even a Yankee fan, but the moment, I mean, Don Lawson jumping into Yogi Berra, or
yes,
yes, it would
beat around him, yeah.
That would have been very funny. 6'5", Yogi's 5'8", and he jumps into his ball. It was very, very cool. And he was not. What's always cool to me when ball players succeed are the ball players that aren't in big arenas like the World Series or the playoffs. It's the ones that aren't expected to exceed. It's the little guy. It's the Bucky Dents, the Bobby Richardson.
Bucky, middle name Dent. We all know his middle name for the Red Sox, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
He has 3 names. It's not just Bucky Dent.
Poor guy.
Poor guy.
You could either be infamous, or they used to call, in New York, the newspapers would have this thing, one of them at least, GOAT, and they'd have a picture of the guy in the World Series with the goat horns, or hero. I mean, you're wearing a goat horn on the back page of the Post, it could have been the Post. It's probably more like the News or the Journal. It could have been any of those. But they would really be critical about, back in New York, it was a lot different. It's different playing in New York than it is in California.
Well,
press is much nicer.
I feel sorry in the minor leagues where they have the beer batter. An opposing player who has a really low batting average, and if he strikes out, beers are half price. I'm always rooting for the beer batter.
Right.
It's so sad.
That guy would go home on the bus that night. I didn't make it. I lost it. But the good news, the very good news, I saw a woman named Sherry who was very happy in the stands. And keep a redhead happy. How bad?
Yeah, always happy at a ballpark.
Well, it's that's the thing, and they're happy to have you at the ballpark too, Sherry. Anything else on the agenda? You know, I fight the Unholy Trinity a lot: big business, organized religion, and big government. I'd like you to stand up a little bit because I ended the show we were on as I do every other show where keep on keeping on thing, keep your kids out of recruiting station, keep your kids off the laps of clerics wearing dresses, keep your humor dry, keep your dreams wet, all that stuff in good fun and what have you. And I want you to talk to me because I have had in the past pretty much zero respect for organized religion and the Mother Church in particular. So when I said those things, I did manage to ruffle a few hairs. And why don't you just talk to me as if I were that 9-year-old adolescent that I never stopped being, so that maybe I could learn something about the Catholic Church. Because I stopped when Don Lawson pitched that was it. I didn't have any more growing to do. Okay, so maybe I could learn a little bit and even the scales a little bit on these hairs, because I'm tough on people and organizations that I'm tough on. So let's just leave it at that, and I'll shut up.
Well, you're talking to someone who had 16 years of Catholic education and has known many, many priests. And some of them have really been wonderful. Now, I don't know, everything was hushed up back then, so I don't know if anything happened or if there were abusive priests whom I knew. But as an adult, I have known many really brilliant.
You didn't talk with any of your friends or chat with any of your friends?
Well, I have, and I have not heard of anything. I have talked with some of the boys from my class, and I have not heard anything.
Well,
who knows? But
who knows?
The fact is that it happens all across America, in all professions, in all levels of society. I certainly think it's horrible.
Okay,
horrible.
may I just interject?
And I also think, let me finish one thing, and I also think that the church is much to blame in the cover-up of it and in not getting these priests out of the community and out away from children. I think they're very much to blame for that. But I don't like tarring the whole priesthood profession with that brush, because I have known some very dedicated social activists, kind and generous-hearted clergy. So I just don't like putting that brush on the whole profession. That's all.
Okay, just.
I think there's plenty. I think there's plenty to debate about it, and there are horrible instances, but I think it's not confined to the clergy. So.
Well, okay, and it isn't just confined to the little boys who are abused allegedly. There's it's little girls too that are abused. And when I asked you if you guys saw, you said yes. I talked to the boys. Don't want you to think or don't that there are girls that little girls that suffer abuse as well, and throughout history.
Well, that's true, but it is primarily boys, and I think it's because of
it is absolutely primarily boys.
I think a lot of gay men in earlier times did not have many resources, and I think especially if you were really taught that it was a wrong thing to do, that you went the other way and decided, says, I can't get married, I'll be a priest. And it just didn't work out right. It was not the right thing to do. They should never have
there are gay men too that never touch children. So, and I'm
absolutely.
And I'm sure the priesthood is full of gay men because it is a boys' club. There's always has been, and the vast majority of those gay men don't touch little boys or girls. But however, when you say the vast majority, there's still leaves there's a lot of them, so that if it's 20% or whatever, and there's 10,000 reported cases or this, that, and the other thing, and how many unreported cases and beyond the statute of limitations and the cover-ups and all that crap that is always a part of it, but. My thing was that I wanted to give you a chance to, I heard the sincerity in your voice. There are, a lot of priests who are wonderful people and wouldn't dream and are appalled by it, but yet they should be coming out against those who do more. And it's not how you become cardinal. It's not how you become bishop. And it's not even how you become pope, as the Razzi the Nazi used to dance around his little mirror, like, I am the pope now. Could you imagine? I, the Führer, I am the pope, huh? Yeah, you're dead, I'm alive. Never mind, that's, he was also a former Hitler Youth, and, the Youth of America. Rest in peace, Mr. Gwynn. For that. Anyway, hey, thank you for clarifying that. It makes these airways a little easier to take for many of my listeners because I want to be a better person. I want to show both sides, but on all things. And sometimes I let my humor get in the way, and I need some brains around the show too, Sherry, so it was nice of you to come by and do it. Sherry and the Zig Man show, your interests are so far beyond baseball, though. Talk about Bally. I didn't realize it until I started following you more on Facebook after we did the show. In terms of the pictures and what have you from the lunch we had, the get-together was the walk. It was terrific. I learned what you're multi-passioned. I mean, not just that you were a talented actress. You did you were in, which show were you in with David Carradine?
Oh, musicals in Virginia when he was in the Army.
Oh, okay. Well, still, pretty cool. There's an Army base. I didn't mention last time that I knew, and you knew too, that Tidewater, where you're from, was a minor league town for the Mets for many, many years. They were the AAA team. And
across the river in Norfolk, but in my town, in the 50s, it was the Baby Dodgers, and it went through a lot of different teams over the years.
I don't remember them being the Dodgers. What was that?
That's when Norm Sherry and Roger Craig played there in the 50s.
Oh, that's
in my hometown.
I do remember this. We did, in your hometown. And,
unfortunately, I wasn't a baseball fan then. But.
Yeah, and I think I told you the story of how Norm helped Sandy Koufax.
Sandy Koufax, yes.
Yeah, and Hung Baby played on those teams, and I got to jokingly call Roger Craig the poor man's Don Besant. And he says, that's not bad of a compliment. Don Besant was pretty good, and he was. And Craig was pretty good. He was a Met. I was an original Met fan, and poor Roger Craig.
Poor Roger,
He lost 20 games in 20 or more games, 2 consecutive years. They had him
But
change.
I don't think his ERA was that high. I think
it wasn't.
think
He was
no hitting behind it, right?
Not just no hitting, atrocious defense. Defense that you would not only were these players washed up by the time they got to the Mets, guys like Richie Ashburn. I mean, that who wasn't really washed up, but he was much slower than he used to be. And Frank Thomas and Felix Mantilla was a stiff when you played him every day, and Rod Keneal. They made an inordinate amount of errors, and Throneberry made a record amount. He was iconic he did beer commercials later on in those years, and Roger would go out there every fourth day and pitch well with a very, very good ERA, and like I say, he'd be like 7-20. Horrible teams, but great memories. I'll tell you who you talk about is our mutual friend.
Many people, the Splitter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was his big pitch.
Before he was the Giant manager, he was the Detroit Tiger pitching coach under Sparky Anderson when they won it 68, and his tutelage, guys like Morris and what have you, did learn the Splitter. See, you're a Goyle. You know all those things.
Imagine that.
Imagine I'm shocked. And you told me that about some of those who were pigs, but you told me we don't have to mention who they were in your career.
No, I don't want to mention names.
No, I don't either. But I do want to mention some of those who were the good ones. And one of them you talked about off the air was Frank Rapinson.
Yes. Well, he has that demeanor about him that you don't take lightly. You don't speak to him in a jocular manner. So he was in charge of speeding up the game, and it kind of fell to the PA announcer. I had to have a stopwatch. And I wanted to talk with him about that because I had questions about it. And he happened to be in the press box after a game. And I went up to him and I said, Mr. Robinson, I'd like to ask you a question. And he turned and I got this stern look, kind of this stern voice. What is it? And I said, well, I'm the PA announcer. And I just wanted to know if the pitcher has been at bat or on the base or, in the on-deck circle when the inning ends, can I give him more time to warm up? Can I extend the whatever minute and 20 seconds it is when I have to announce the next batter? And he said, no, you have to continue to do that, and it's up to the umpires to enforce it. But you're doing a great job. And that was my conversation with him. So that made me happy. That made me happy.
I could imagine F. Robbie, when I was a kid, he, Veda Pinson, both from McClymonds High School right here in the East Bay, and Kurt Flood, they all played the outfield together. And Bill Russell played basketball, and I'd go by there on the 51A every now and again on 43rd Street, Broadway, and I go, whoa, it's, hallowed grounds. It's just like here in Alameda. Rollins went to Encinal High School, and Pops Willie Stargell. So when I walk out that part of town, I walk the grounds. I go, you go, wow, these guys play baseball. Dr. Willis played there. Alameda has a great baseball history. So I'm happy to live here for that reason and others. And the East Bay is terrific. We went up to Lafayette the other day, you and I, to the Lafayette Reservoir. People come from all over the world to see stuff that we have on a regular basis. We're blessed to live in.
I know we're very blessed. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a bad life, Sherry, and Just got to keep getting up and doing it every day and not giving up. So,
absolutely.
Here my promise to you, we will not talk about the clergy in our endings to any segment.
It's up to
it's
you,
Sherry and the Zig Zag Man. If Zig Zag Man happens to talk about sitting on laps of clerics wearing dresses and Sherry's not around, he shouldn't feel guilty. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's up to you. I just put in my two cents worth. That's all.
All right. Well, then I'll tell you the difference between. Somebody told me the other day about the Jews Jews have guilt, Catholics have shame.
Interesting.
You think about that, Gills. Jews are guilty. I've been guilty about stuff, but I haven't been ashamed of much. This I wouldn't be ashamed of. I'd feel a little guilty if you were somewhere else, and even doing the show, maybe that would make me guilty, but let alone that. So no more references to it, but I will tell everybody about the recruiting stations, military recruiting stations, not to let your kids feed in, not to let them be fodder. Go to a veterans hospital. Walk around, see how badly the veterans are treated, not because the treators are bad people. They don't have the funds. They simply don't have the funds. We got war going on all the time. There are much more important things to spend our money on. We got iPhones to buy and stuff. You can't be taking care of veterans. You know what I'm kidding. This is a crazy society where priorities are all fucked up. And so don't let your kids go in. If they're still in doubt after going to the Veterans Hospital, read a book called Johnny Got His Gun. I read that years ago, and very poignant about war protesting. And it was done it was written as a war protest in 1939.
Right.
So things aren't going to get better. We had more wars, and they do less for us economically for everyone that we have. And the only way you can decide, we got election day coming up, the only way you can decide to make a difference is by voting, and voting out those who have had filibusters instead of helping Obama get programs through, but made him look the way he looks inept, and he has been on some levels because no one's perfect, but he got Obamacare through. People have insurance. They couldn't get it without pre-existing conditions, most of them women because just the way things are. So he's done a pretty good job given everything, and vote Democratic come we could both agree on that. Am I correct?
Yes, we can, and we can agree on getting out and voting.
Yeah, November 4th.
Everybody absolutely needs to get out and vote. You have to vote.
And
you can't complain if you don't vote.
And help people get to the poll. Help people that ordinarily couldn't get out to vote. Bring them to the polls if you possibly can. Too late to register if you're not registered by now. Sorry for you, because it is more cathartic to at least vote, and then they can't say, well, and sometimes it's hard to make a decision. Believe me, there's a lot of similarities between the people and the parties. Enough said in every election, city elections.
And it's hard to know the propositions and all, but you have to study it. I mean, you have to make an effort. You really do. It's not an easy thing, and it's not something that should be taken lightly. I mean, it takes effort to do it, but you need to make that effort because it makes a difference in our lives.
Absolutely. All right, Shara, you have a wonderful week, and keep on keeping on, huh?
Same to you.
All right, kid. Thanks for being a guest, not once but twice, and
you're welcome.
You're a delight. It makes me feel good. You're a delight.
Thank you.
All right, sweetie. See you soon.